Hello and welcome to this new video. Today I'll show you why everyone is wrong about CrowdStrike and what a huge opportunity this crash offers for investors and traders. In this video, we'll look at the news, then the fundamentals, and then we'll look at our short-term goals. This stock will at least double, if not triple, in the coming years. Let's get started. He writes that a faulty update was downloaded on Microsoft computers by CrowdStrike. It's very important to know that it wasn't a cyber attack, but an engineering error. One should always know the root cause before acting. Now let's look at the financial data. Fundamentally, CrowdStrike looks quite all right, and the company has reached a very important milestone this year. They've become profitable and therefore triggered a very strong short explosion. Companies that have newly become profitable often have a very high PE ratio like CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike has a PE ratio of almost 500, but you can't expect a price-to-earnings ratio of 30 or 40 from a newly profitable company. The most important thing, however, when you look away from the PE ratio, is that they are profitable and can survive difficult market phases. CrowdStrike also has a market capitalization of $74 billion US, making it the second largest cybersecurity company, and they still have a PS ratio of 19.6. Let's come to the competitors. The competitors are like ServiceNow, Scalar, Palo Alto Networks, and Fortinet. They all have very strong growth, and I compare them with the PS ratio, not with the PE ratio, because some have too high PE or haven't made any profit yet. It would distort the view. The PS ratio is currently highest at CrowdStrike, but the company also has the most growth with 19.1%. Then comes Zscaler, which is very undervalued, and Palo Alto Networks, the largest cybersecurity company in the world, which is also in my target zone right now. Now let's look at the future prospects. The future prospects look quite strong. Earnings should grow by 35.7% and EPS growth should be 30.9%. Then the future return on equity should be 31.1% and revenue growth should average 19.1%. The growth forecasts are very good for buying the stock. With this growth and fundamentals and the short-term goals I'll show you, you can expect an average performance of 30% per year, which would outperform the market. And if you keep it constant, you could build up a very large fortune. If you've watched so far and liked it, I'd be very happy for a like and a subscription. Let's look at the growth on a diagram of cash flow, revenue, and profit. CrowdStrike is very free cash flow strong, which is a good sign. The profit growth looks quite all right, and they shouldn't fall back into the negative. Revenue should also grow very strongly. With such a company, it's important that revenue grows and generates positive cash flow. Profit is important, but one should make sure that the companies invest enough. By the end of 2027, they should have revenue of $6.27 billion, a profit of $625 million, and a free cash flow of more than $2 billion. Now let's look at the geographical location. This is always very important for American companies, because some have a very large China share, and that could be problematic for American companies because of tariffs and other regulations. The two largest sales markets are America and Europe. Let's now come to the efficiency of the company. For a growth-oriented company, one should not pay so much attention to this, but rather that the company invests in the right products. The company is still below the industry average. For return on equity, the company has 5.3%, but the market average is 12%. Then for return on asset, they are still negative with only 0.1% and are below average. What I like, though, is that they could strongly increase return on capital employed from minus 5.3% to plus 0.6%. Now let's look at the health of CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike's balance sheet is very good. We have a debt-to-equity ratio of 28.9%, and the debts amount to $745.87 million US. When compared to the assets, they are still well positioned for a growth company that has just become profitable. Those were the data. Now let's look at the largest shareholders. The top 25 investors hold 41.12% of the outstanding shares. The largest shareholder is BlackRock. Then comes Vanguard, and then comes one of the CEOs, George Kurtz, with 3.21%. That's it for the data. Now we come to my short-term forecasts. Write in the comments which stocks you still want, and very important earnings are coming up. Now we come to my price targets. My target zone is between $525 and $245. For the people who bought on Friday, they should hold the stock even if it has fallen another 10%. One should not make significant worries. One should use the opportunity to buy in. I bought more on Friday and Monday. My stop loss is not at 245s, but at $240. But the target zone ends at 245s and 52 cents. I wouldn't buy below this price. From today's price targets, it would still be a minus of 8%. It's unlikely that we will fall further and have already found the bottom. This target zone is also very interesting for traders. With a low downward potential, traders could leverage the stock with a high leverage. Of course, this should not be investment advice. My minimum target is $450. I expect much higher prices. We will very likely see prices of $568 to $756. That would be at least an increase of 68% by the end of 2025. As I predict, but it could also come earlier. It will probably be a 110%, but we could also reach a 180%. A performance like that in not even 2 years is incredible and would beat the indices, as we're seeing the indices correct strongly right now. Write in the comments which analyses you still want. Crowdstrike belongs in a growth portfolio. Depending on risk, one should vary the allocation. I hope you liked it and see you next time.